Hey. Good evening. Good evening. Happy Monday. Can you guys hear me? Put a one in the chat to make sure everything's cool. I think y'all can hear me. I've been checking this out. So everything should be working okay. Uh, Hello, Milani's here. Curtis, Jason, welcome to this show. We should have some fun tonight. Well, fun anyway. It's political season, so we're going to be talking some political stuff, right? So you can see the title of the show is the Democrats have lobbed the Hail Mary to get the male vote. And in particular, we all over the internet, we're talking about what Obama has done to to ruin Kamala's chances with any black men who are actually black men. I think he made a tremendous mistake. Hello, Take Heed, how you doing? So welcome. So we're at the BMU network tonight. So I have again, I like videos and stuff like that. So I have a bunch of videos and things of that nature. And we'll be talking about this thing. And anybody who wants to come up, sure can. Hit the like button coming in. Be sure to do that. I'll be dropping a link. So even though we'll be going through some videos, we could have people in the audience. You want to stay in the cloud, that's fun. So you can stay up there and we could talk. But I think a lot of people have to, both men and women have a lot to say about what Obama tried to shame black men. And then, of course, a few hyenas try to follow suit as well. That shit ain't working no more. It ain't working. It certainly is not working. And I'm glad that it's not. Of course, everybody has seen a lot of content creators talking about this stuff right now. See you, Edward. How you doing? And which is a good thing. So why are we here today, right? Why are we here? Why is this thing happening now? Well, the Democrats found out a little late. That they kind of misrepresented the people that they didn't represent all the people. Men are feeling left out. Now, the Harris supporters are going to always support her. The Democrats, people on the plantation, are going to stay on the plantation. But maybe I should take that back. People are leaving the plantation. That's what's scaring them, especially men. Especially men, And when we're going to talk men in general, but we're going to get down to specific on what Obama did to piss off all the black men out there, enough of us to make a difference. And I think we're going to make that difference anyway. But there's two things that the Democrats are trying to do with this full court press. Well, and they're doing it wrong. First, they're trying to shame men into voting for Harris, right? And then at the same time, they're putting other hyenas out there trying to redefine what a man is and what masculinity is. And that should piss people off even more. The last thing we need is a bunch of women, right? Married or not, trying to tell men how to be men. I mean, I can't think of anything more. Gosh, I mean, there's so many different words to it. I'm going to try to get through this whole stream tonight. And maybe I failed already, but without cursing once. I don't want to curse. I don't want the floodgate to open because I got all kinds of expletive deleteds that I could come out with, and I really don't want to. I really want to try to keep it up to a little higher level and say, hey, this is why this is wrong, what they're trying to do. And as far as I'm concerned, I hope it costs them the election. But, there's some historical reasons why we're here. And I don't think we talk about it enough. AKP, how you doing? Welcome to the chat with everybody. I think there's, make sure you hit the like button coming in, and if you can share this with anybody you can share it with, support the channel. It's not as important to support my little Cash App as it is to support BMU's network with a Cash App. I know they put a lot of money behind this thing to keep it running. So support the channel. Anyway, here's the thing with me, though, and I got to start with me real quick. I don't know why it took me so long. YouTube helps me reflect on certain things. And being up here, that I'm retired, I have to have time. I have to fill the void of time. Anybody who gets to the retirement age, you got to realize this. You spend a lifetime working. You know, some people have businesses. I think you work even longer hours. But if you have a 9 to 5 job, my job was a little bit more than 9 to 5 since I was working for the federal government, the Department of Defense. You know, your time is filled with work that somebody else gives to you. And one of the things you have to prepare for when you retire is what you're going to do with all that time. Now, you spend, let's say, on average, 50 hours a week and an hour in the car to and from work. You know, what do you do to fill that time when you're retired? You know, so that was one of the things I had to do, right? So that's why, so I didn't, you know, I mean, I was always on YouTube, you know, just looking at videos. I had a channel, but it never occurred to me to say, you know what, you got a lot of stuff to say, whether it's meaningful to anybody else or just yourself, you do. But it took me a while until I started going up on these panels. I said, well, you know what, let me just start a channel, right? And it's more of a, I guess, it's still kind of a hobby for me, as opposed to a livelihood for a lot of other people. So I try to make sure I respect YouTube and the way it is. And I appreciate people putting me up on their channels. So, but, you know, so one of the things that if I reflect back on my life, why it took me so long to understand that I was on a mental plantation with the Democrats is because I worked for the Department of Defense. I think part of it was that, right? I was always in the political mix. Believe it or not, I got my job when Ronald Reagan was president. That was it was 1984, 83, 84, when I started working for the Department of Defense. And so one of the things that struck me was that's when the budget for the Department of Defense was raised by $5 billion then, just $5 billion. And I said to myself, shit, if I had a job, oh, there's that one curse word. If I had a job there, I could, you know, I don't have to worry about switching jobs. You know, it's a government job. This is my profession. You know, let me go and get the job there. So I got a job with the Department of Defense. And one of the things that my job was is that we had to produce weapon systems for our soldiers. You know, I was in that quality area and I was on the release board. I chaired it, right? So we had to make sure that the weapons we put out to our army, our soldiers, had to work better than the enemies, and it had to be able to bring those soldiers back home safely and alive to their families. Now, we know that that's not 100%. People perish in wars. People get hurt in wars. But we had to make sure they had the best equipment possible. The one thing that we couldn't do in those boardrooms was talk about politics. Right? Ronald Reagan was a Republican, but we had Democratic regimes, we had Republican regimes, and it didn't matter to me because politics was secondary to the fact that we had to get our soldiers home alive and safe. So I wasn't caring about politics. I was Black and I was a Democrat. I would just go ahead and go, come time to vote locally, come time to vote in a national level. I was just pulling the level for Democrats. Now, I had a job, so I wasn't worrying about, you know, where's my next meal coming from. I got educated in the government. These guys kept promoting me as crazy as they are. Hey, Embrace, you know, hi, what's that? Beak, how you doing? Welcome aboard. Make sure y'all hit that like button. So as far as I was concerned, whether you were Democrat or Republican, I wasn't really getting into the nitty gritties. But once I retired, I started thinking a little bit differently because I had more time to look at what the policies were between the Democrats and the Republicans. And I wasn't just voting, you know, just out of habit. I started listening to what these people had to offer, you know, and I still voted Democrat up until Barack Obama. And I admit I voted for him first because he was Black, but he was different, right? Kamala Harris is no Barack Obama. But matter of fact, there's a lot of presidents who weren't him in his heyday. He had this gift of gab and all that kind of stuff. Plus, he was Black. Everybody was excited. But so for 38 years, I was just voting, you know, rotely. And then, of course, you know, things started to change. You know, When we went into Iraq, my thought process of the government started to change because that was a war of aggression. I believed in the Department of Defense because I believed America was a noble place to be, right? And that's before the rose came off, the bloom came off the rose. It was we didn't you had to draw first blood before we got involved. That was important to me. The Department of Defense. That name was a meaningful name, and and so but until the Iraq War and we went aggressive, I think the hand of God started to lift a little bit off of us. It's just me talking, but because that was a war based on anything other than what it should have been, right? We know we shouldn't have been there, and we lost a lot of good lives because of that. So now I started looking deeper into the politics behind things. Well, anyway, so somewhere around, and that was just my thought process just started changing, and I still kind of looked. I still voted for Obama. I voted for Hillary, I believe, over. No, did I vote for Hillary over Trump? Yeah, I didn't vote for Trump back then in this 2016. I didn't. I think I voted for Hillary, and but I couldn't get myself to vote for Biden. I just left that blank. I didn't vote for Trump either. I put some other shit down, but neither one of those guys I could get my head around, because I understood Biden's history. I believe Biden's more racist than Trump ever has been. And then anybody who does a cursory search on Biden can find that shit out. The crime bill was all I needed to know about. So anyway, so that brings us to here. And I don't understand why the rest of us are so clinging from a mental standpoint to the Democratic Party as Black people. I mean, let's take you back. Slavery was Democrats, Southern Democrats were the slave owners. After slavery and then the Republicans had a civil war to keep the Union together, right? They didn't really have the Civil War because they cared about Black people. They had a Civil War because it was more important to keep the Union together than it was for slavery to exist in the South. So slavery had to go. And a lot of people don't really understand. The Civil War meant the white people were willing to kill their brothers, their sisters, their aunts and uncles to keep the Union together, right? Because the Civil War, by definition, is families fighting families. To think that there was no relationship, blood relationship from the South to the North is just crazy. So that was a huge event. And we were a byproduct. Our freedom was a byproduct of that fight, that battle. Whether they did it for us or not, it almost doesn't matter to us because we were free. And then it brought on a Reconstruction era. But the Democrats didn't like that shit. The Southern Democrats, well, they had the red shirts, right? The red shirts were started by the Democrats, and they were actually like a terrorist group against Republicans and any Blacks they could snare into that thing. Then from the red shirts, I think they were the precursor to the Ku Klux Klan, right? They were the precursor to these are all Democrats. And then, I mean, this is what I'm saying. These were all Democrats. Okay, let's just keep going. So we had the Jim Crow era. The Jim Crow era started at 1877, and it didn't end until the Civil Rights Act was enacted in 1965, officially end. I was born in 1958. I can say I lived to the end of the Jim Crow era. I was alive. I was in the North, but I was alive. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I was there. My parents were definitely there. And so, I mean, and I'm still never dawned on me, why did we still have this undying loyalty for the people, the Democrats who had us in physical shackles in the worst kind of slavery in the history of mankind as we know it, right? And so now, and here's another thing with the civil rights thing. I gotta say this. The civil rights bill was stuck in the Senate. The Democrats had a filibuster for 100 days or some crazy shit like that. It was a Republican who got the votes from other Republicans and changed the minds of some Democrats so they can get a closer of a majority, a two-thirds majority to break the filibuster. In order for that bill to go to Johnson, for Johnson to sign it, it was a Republican. Yeah, it was a Republican. Okay, and so when Johnson got the bill, he signed it, of course. And his reward to us was put policies into place that would break the Black family in two. Handouts, and all the rest of that shit, right? I don't want to blame it on the women or the men. We know that his policies of, social policies have led us to where we are today. Pretty much. Our families are in a shambles. Our inner cities are in a shambles. All this shit's in a shambles. And the Democrats keep trying to keep us now on a mental and psychological plantation. That's where we are now. That's Barack Obama. That's him standing up, holding his balls, looking at Black men and say, where are you going? Come back to master on the plantation. You, as men, you're too dog shit stupid to have any autonomy. You need to vote for Kamala Harris because it left up to your own devices, little nigger boy. You're not going to know what to do. That's what he did. I don't want to take credit for all this backlash, but maybe I should. I just want to share something with you guys, okay? Let me go ahead and just share one thing with you. That because I've been talking about this in one shape, form, or fashion for some time now. Let me see if I can find it. Okay. All right. In February of 2023, I started my first video on divesting from the Democrat Party. And it's no mistake that I have a Black man with his hands up and the caption said, beast of burden and what's in it for us. That was it's almost 2 years ago I was talking about that. Almost 2 years I was saying, success is not just putting a Democrat or Republican in the party. Success for us as Black people is getting our percentage vote down from over 90% to somewhere where they have to actually do something for us for our votes. And I said, Black men have to lead that charge. And here we are today, right? Everybody telling us, and unfortunately, including Black women, telling us how useless we are. But now everybody wants to suck out Johnson for our votes. Right? For the Black man who is dusty and he doesn't have anything. So all of a sudden, they want to, so I remember coming on Black Man Unfiltered's channel before I even had my show, saying we need to divest from the Democrat Party. I argue with everybody because they automatically say you got to be a Republican. No, you don't. That's not the purpose. This was even before Kamala Harris. This was even before Trump. Said he wanted to run. We know he did want to run, but he wasn't declared. It was just almost 2 years ago. I said, success for us as Black men is not just willy-nilly giving our votes for these bastards. That's what I said. And all of a sudden, now that's all we're talking about. We need the Black man's vote. Now, so I have a couple of videos, and if we take it from the top, it's not only Black men, white men, Spanish men, there's men all over saying, there's nothing what Kamala's saying that is I can get with. Hey, you know what? As a man, I don't know about some of you guys, even if you're liberal, I don't want to spend any of my tax dollars to give a jail, transvestites in jail, a sex change operation. I don't want to spend my tax dollars to give sex change operations to illegal aliens. I don't want to spend that. That came right out of Kamala Harris's mouth. I mean, it doesn't have to be 1,000 things for me to say, I don't want this person to be president. It has nothing to do with her being a woman. Policies suck. It could be a man saying the same thing. I don't want tampon Timmy. as vice president. A man who thinks you want to put tampons in a boy's bathroom for what? I can't get behind that kind of stuff. Some people can. That's fine, but I don't want you to be the leader of the free world. I don't. You know what I'm saying? So we got an opportunity as Black men to change some things, right? And like I said, I have some videos, and I want to take it from the top. I don't know if any of you folks understand, and anybody who wants to come up, you can. I can just put the link out there. Can I drop the link? Oh man, I have to. If anybody's there, you can drop the link for me. I might have to do some shenanigans to get it out to you. Oh, okay, right here. What am I saying? Yeah, if anybody wants to come up and keep me company, there's the link. Anyway, so because I'm gonna go through some videos and all that kind of stuff, and so, but this is it. So anybody who's Black, listen, if you want to stay on a plantation, that's fine with me. That's your prerogative, and that's a prerogative we all have, including Black men who want to leave the plantation. Now, here's the thing that's making me feel a little bit better. Just a little bit better. I actually see some Black women. There's some Black women who are actually saying shit that that warms a Black man's heart. I mean, that shit comes few and far in between. So when it happens, you gotta say, yeah, man, that shit feels good. For women to be mad at the establishment, Barack Obama and everybody else who has the goddamn audacity to say what he said. For the women who came behind him, for women that say, men are ridiculous and stupid, or for a chick like a hyena like Sonny Holston, who said, well, you don't have to worry, black men. They've been sucking on their mother's tits for so long. They'll do whatever we say. I don't even know how she's married. Either that's a facade, but I can tell you this, that my wife wouldn't be talking like that. And it's not even like I'm a bully. What's up, King Libra? How you doing? So I'm just, all right. So listen, without further ado, I don't want to get too serious, but I just wanted to give you a little recap of how do we go from the physical shackles to the mental shackles, and we're still on the same plantation. It's like a Twilight Zone movie. We're still on the same plantation we were. Listen, the Democrats tell us that we're less than, that we need the liberal white man to save us from the evil, bad Donald Trump. We've had 4 years of this guy. And, there was no guys coming with tiki torches to our houses. There was no more, increase in some kind of police brutality. There was the only thing people did that the index, or what they said, the price to consumer index was the best it ever was for Black people, for people in general, which we benefit from. People were keeping more money in their pockets. Food prices were reasonable. Gas prices were reasonable. The pandemic derailed his thing. He didn't handle that. He didn't handle that right, but neither did Fauci. Neither did any of these guys. But you know what we did miss? When Biden took over, they censored all social media. Everybody doesn't want to talk about the fact that Zuckerberg made an admission that the government pressured him to withhold information. They have the X files, the Twitter files that show that they withheld information on Twitter as well. And that turns out to be true because they didn't want that information to influence what people might do in the election. But that's not the government's choice. So you take away the freedom of speech, and the Democrats they're at the top of the list on trying to censor speech. Then we're in a bad time if that happens. So there you go. So I'm just telling you, so like this is my saying. I don't know. I keep saying that somebody said that it doesn't matter how long it takes for a revelation to come, as long as it does. I think I'm the one who came up with that shit because it's only half true. Because if it takes 38 years for you to figure some shit out, man, you really ain't that sharp. And I'm over here admitting that shit to you. So all of you guys are younger than me. Don't take 38 fucking years to understand that you need to make sure people give you something for your vote. That there's something in it for you and your children and your families, not giving transvestite sex change operations, not just letting them flood the borders with illegal aliens and criminals and putting them into, the plan really is to have a one-party country, because they'll put all those illegal aliens in all of the swing states so they could usurp the voting rolls with numbers. So not only do you forget about the electoral college, if you win those states, you win the electoral college. So it's no need to get rid of it if you put 2 million illegal aliens and spend 4 years giving them the right to vote. And they all vote Democrats because they're all getting $8,000 a month in EBT and money and free housing. And they're just placing your black ass. So you got to even go from the bad hut on the plantation to the homeless shelter on the plantation. Just open your eyes, people. It's just right in front of your face. Look at Chicago, look at New York, look at Colorado. And forget about California. It's a supermajority state. So those weenies out there have made it an unlivable place. If you have enough money, you could try to separate yourself from the rank and file people. But if you don't, you got to live in the squalor. So it's up to you. So that's the referendum. Worrying about the orange man, who only has 4 years left, by the way. He's not going to have some kind of coup and all this kind of stuff, but he actually has some policies that might get us over the hump and bring some normalcy back to the United States in terms of values. Yeah, Dick Crook, right. So, JT, you going to come up or what? Oh, yeah, man, that's my man, TJ. Yo, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's up, Mr. Payne? Good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Wait a minute. Let me get this right. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay.
I can hear. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I haven't really been up on a lot of panels or channels lately because I've been kind of focusing on my own stuff. But this here, it's almost like they didn't learn from what happened when Stacy Abrams did the exact same thing.
Absolutely. You know what? I forgot about her. Yes. Yep.
Stacy Abrams basically went out and said that, to her black constituents in the state of Georgia, the black men basically called them stupid. I'm paraphrasing. If they were considering the other candidate, all Stacy Abrams had to do was actually not say anything. If she would have not said anything, she probably would be governor right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because all she needed to do to win her election was to repeat what she did the last time she ran. And she would have beat this guy. But she and her surrogates got on national TV, tried to scold black men.
Oh, God.
Told them that they didn't understand, that they probably fully didn't understand the differences between the two candidates, essentially calling us stupid.
Yes.
And then the black men of Georgia let her know just how stupid we were.
It's incredible, ain't it? I mean, it's absolutely incredible. So here's how I got this clip, man. From are you familiar with Officer Tatum?
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
That don't sound too enthusiastic.
No, you know what? I am very leery of anybody who is a staunch anything of any one of these political parties.
I could dig it.
I get very leery because that means that you're not listening. Because to sit there to say that like a Kamala Harris doesn't offer anything, that's a lie. That's an absolute lie. You know what I mean?
Right.
We know what the Trump presidency is going to be like because we lived through it already.
Exactly.
So yeah, let's see. I wouldn't mind hearing.
No, I'm gonna bring him back. I just have to do something here. Just bear with me. I am gonna get him rolling. All right. Yeah, he's at the right.
Let's get into this, ladies and gentlemen. The most cringiest commercial I've ever seen in my life. These guys, all these guys are man enough to be real. You know what? Just straight. That's what I want to call them. You got to be such a coward, weenie, soft as toilet paper on a marshmallow for you to be a part of this commercial. And I don't know what man your title is not already compromised. All right. I think we can get it at this point. That's 30 days free and a title report for using promo code Tatum. And it's in the link below. Go to hometitlelock.com/theofficertatum and make sure your stuff is set up today. Like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell to get notifications anytime I go live and make a video. Y'all already know what to do. Let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen, the most cringiest commercial I've ever seen in my life. These guys, all these guys are men enough to be real. You know what? Just straight. That's what I want to call them. You got to be such a coward, weenie, soft as toilet paper on a marshmallow for you to be a part of this commercial. And I don't know what man, they're struggling with men.
Did you see
Kamala Harris is struggling with
commercial?
men. First of all, men thinking about a woman running the country is look.
All right, let me stop for a second. So you said you didn't see this commercial?
No, not at all.
I don't know how many people in the chat didn't see this commercial. We're going to get this thing started. The only thing is that I thought it was a parody, but it's really not. And I'll talk about it a little bit later. I think it's an actual commercial, but it's just cringeworthy for sure. Let's get it going.
Because most of y'all ain't half of the woman our mama is or half of the woman our grandmama is. These modern women like Kamala Harris have no qualifications. You ain't strong enough. You ain't leading a family. You don't even have kids. Ma'am, go sit down somewhere. How you going to lead something? And then y'all put commercials out like this. Do you think y'all are out of touch with men? Do you think a real man is looking at this like, yeah, I'm man enough? They pick the gayest, weirdest dudes to be in this thing. I'm man enough to. I think one dude said something about. Nick, you heard him say it. Wait till I play the clip. He said something freaky. I was like, is this a parody? Roll the clip.
Man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man, man. And I'm man enough. I'm man enough to enjoy a barrel-proof bourbon.
Neat.
Man enough to cook my steak rare.
Man enough to deadlift 500 and braid the out of my daughter's hair.
Bro, that's the gayest thing I ever heard in my life, bro. I'm a deadlift 500 and braid my daughter's hair. Bro, you sound like a pedophile. What kind of weirdo are you? I'm man enough to hit 500 on the thing and then wipe my kid butt. Shut up, fool. Let me finish this commercial. Let me start back right here.
And braid the out of my daughter's hair.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast.
No, it's called carbs. You eat too many carbs, not carburetors.
I ain't afraid of bears.
That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women. I'm not afraid of women.
I'm not afraid of women.
They want to control their bodies? I say go for it.
They want to use IVF.
Go have that abortion. I don't want to be no daddy. Oh my God, this is terrible.
Start a family? I'm not afraid of families.
They want to be childless cat ladies?
Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president?
Well, I hope she has the guts to look me right in the eye and accept my full-throated endorsement.
Because I'm man enough to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donut.
Man enough to admit I'm lost, even when I refuse to ask for directions.
Man enough to not ban young women from reading Little Women.
Or one of those pants books that the sisters like.
I'm man enough to raw dog a flight.
He didn't say raw dog a flight. He said raw dog a flight. They really put this in a commercial?
Sucked. Not worth it. I'm man enough to be emotional in front of my wife.
In front of my kids.
In front of my horse. I'm man enough to tell you that I cry at Love Actually. Good Will Hunting.
West Side Story.
Or at the buffet line.
With fat and brother.
And I'm sick of so-called men domineering, belittling, and controlling women just so they can feel more powerful. That's not how my mama raised me.
I love women.
Yeah, well, you tell your daddy didn't raise you.
I love women who support their families.
Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge.
Why they got the black man saying I support women who decide not to have families? Why the brother don't want to be a daddy, bro? Why he don't want to be a daddy, bro?
Have families.
Women who take charge.
And I'm man enough to help them win.
Incredible.
Oh my God, it's the cringiest commercial I've ever seen in my life. I know y'all probably wanted me to play it all the way.
Okay.
I have to admit that was some weird shit there. I don't know what to say to that. That's got to be the weirdest shit.
I don't know. Let me tell you, I must have seen this shit 10 times. I still keep that. What kind of man are you trying to woo? What kind of man are you trying to get on? Now, see, this goes part and parcel with the Democratic Party and the women of the Democratic Party trying to reimagine what a man is. And they actually are trying to redefine masculinity to this newfangled tampon Tim man. And they're pulling out all the stuff.
I'm lost. I just don't. Okay.
So
well, this is why I got this white boy that work at my job, right?
Okay.
And he voted for Trump as the last 2 times Trump ran. And he comes up to me today and he goes, I mean, not today, but last week, and he just telling me that he doesn't know if he can vote for Donald Trump or not. And he just goes, because he says the guy's too much of a maniac. And I understand that. But I told him he doesn't, and he's very convinced that Kamala Harris is going to win, probably because of stuff like this. And I told him, I said, Kamala Harris is not going to win. And I said, and he didn't understand what I was saying. I said, Donald Trump's going to win. And he's going to win on the backs of black men. I said, right now, black men is polling at Donald Trump's approval rating amongst black men is polling at 25%. Our Payne, I think it's rough. I think it's about 40%.
It could be higher.
I think it's about 40% because the poll is only a small sample. If they're polling at 25%, then the reality is it's probably almost double that. And let me explain something to you. Let me say this. Anybody that I would would listen to me, I would tell them all the time, I ain't voting for Donald Trump. You can go fuck Donald Trump for all I care. I think he's a goddamn dumpster fire of a person. I don't think his policies is beneficial to me or any other black person out there. But here's the thing. I understand why so many brothers are gravitating towards the Democratic Party. You have to understand something. We are the least sought after demographic in this country. We are the least respected. We are the least valued, even though we contribute to the society probably in the most profound ways. And the Democratic Party, because they have decided to be the party of transgender, female, and black female, they are going to learn Donald Trump's this election is going to decimate the Democratic Party. And I keep telling people, notice people haven't paid attention. Over the last 2 years, the Republican Party has started moving away from dog whistling, race baiting talking points that they used to that kept black men away. That's on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Black men are no longer hearing the old school dog whistling rhetoric that's coming out of, the Republican platform, and I think the Republican and Donald Trump, I think they're hustling black men, but whatever. I think they're speaking they're speaking in a narrative that black men can get behind. First of all, they're acknowledging the fact that we have been marginalized by the Democratic Party. They're acknowledging that we've been marginalized by our own fucking women. They're speaking to that. And then you pull out most black men, whether you want to believe it or not, prior to 2 days ago, regardless of what they felt about Obama's policies, I think was still proud that they voted that man to be the president of the United States.
Oh, yeah.
Until he fucking opened his mouth and all I heard was his wife talking, scolding us. It was him saying it, but I could hear. You understand what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, all right, motherfucker. All right, if she thought she had a chance, if you thought, let me put it to you this way: I've been touting we divest from the Democrats, and I didn't say we should just go ahead to the Republicans. I just said we should divest from any one party, period, and have our votes count. Because of course, politics is
two sides of the same coin.
Right.
And all we were doing was being on heads or tails, all in full. And that's no good, because if you're on one side, of course, you get taken for granted. And if the other side wins and they win without you, then they don't have to do shit for you.
Right
So
on.
we need to make our votes count by making them fight for them. And the only way we can do that is doing what we're doing. And it's really key that I believe it's black men who are at the forefront of this, because it's been a long time since we stood up and say, fuck you, man. You know what? This far and no further.
We're not going no further.
This far and no further. And that's not only to the Democrats, that's also to the black women who have disrespected us for decades.
Yes.
That's so here we go. I got some more of this Tatum, because I want to go through a little string. He has another piece where a hyena says something about that men are in Christ. I just want to play that part. I got two more clips of this guy.
And this is their movement now. Catch it. This is their thing now. Now they on TV talking about masculinity. They want to reimagine masculinity. Bro, you know how many men y'all gonna turn off? Ask Bud Light. They put a transformer in there to talk about beer, and people are like, what the man ain't got nothing to do with beer. Now y'all doing this. Now let's play the clip and listen to
this.
Look at this woman.
Is actually for all men. You know, I think men are in crisis, actually, in this country.
Fuck you.
Women are more in crisis than men, if you ask me.
I think that plays out different ways. And not all men are in crisis, of course.
Let me stop it right there.
I would have called her
There's a table with 4 women on it and one white sycophant, or he could have been black, whatever. He's a liberal sycophant. And she's talking about men in crisis. Now, she kind of tried to walk it back a little bit because it just didn't come out right and it was wrong. And so, but I mean, you had something you was going to say?
I said, if I was up there and she said that, I would have called her a silly bitch right in her face.
I'm telling you.
And not all men are just at home listening to Joe Rogan, being angry or being recruited to fascism. Some just need therapy, like we all do. I go to therapy. That's great.
Oh, it ain't working.
It ain't working. Hey, see, you know one thing, TJ? Every time I hear a black woman talk, the only word I think about is projection.
Yes.
They project their insecurities and everything on us as if we're women. Right. And she, this whole thing about therapy, men don't need no therapy to know they're getting fucked over.
There you go.
I mean, what's wrong with Joe Rogan? And listen, who's fascists? The Democrats are the biggest. They are the real fascists.
Yeah.
I mean, so just everything she's saying is a projection, and it's crazy. Now, this clip, I'm not going to play that much of it. I'm going to play some more of it.
It ain't working. Every time a woman says, I go to therapy, that's a virtue signal. They need to go to they ain't going to no therapy. The therapy just tell them what they want to hear. Because woman, for you to say something stupid, you need to go, but you can get your money back.
But I think we need to have a real conversation about that rather than allowing this kind of drift toward this faux.
Okay. Oh, let me see.
Faux masculinity.
All right. So here we need to have a conversation. So women need to round up men so they can have a conversation about our masculinity. We can't.
Ain't that some shit?
I mean, what the man? You know what? I swear to God. How do you get a platform to say such bullshit? Like a bunch of men going to sit around and have fucking hyenas sit down here and lecture us on how to be men. It's just cringe.
That we see Donald Trump evincing.
And what I see is
serving your country is faux masculinity. Standing up for your family is faux masculinity. The mother freaking country was built on the masculinity they're trying to break down. They want this to be a matriarchy. Name a country that's a matriarchy. Okay, that's what I thought. They won't exist.
Let me tell you something.
And it's really nothing against women. It's that people.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you something. The 5 minutes after this country completely flips to become a matriarchy, 5 minutes after, North Korea and Russia are going to invade us. You think I'm playing? The moment they understand that all of the masculinity has been stomped out of the goddamn country, there's nobody here to defend it. And what the hell they gonna do then?
Yeah. It's just absolute. I mean, I'm finished with this clip for right now anyway. So, I mean, listen, I got a couple more, but I just wanted, because the reason why I'm using his clip, because he hits a couple of points I want to make before we get into some of the other stuff. 11:44. Now, so I listened to some of these panels, and CNN, I believe, at least has one dude that they come up on his panels, and it's Scott Jennings. I believe it's Scott Jennings. He comes up on their panels, and at least he sits and puts these guys to shame every time he talks. Right. So let me just go ahead and play through this clip a little bit.
All right, let me get to some of these other clips, because I think this is one. Scott Jennings had a pretty interesting thing to say about this as well. Wrote a clip.
I mean, this is a political party that thinks gender is just a state of mind, and all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, we have trouble with moderate biological males. I mean, who is surprised about this?
Yeah,
I think Democratic Party elites like Obama and like others have been viciously attacking Donald Trump since 2016. And everything they said about him is what they have always said about him. And I don't think it's particularly effective right now. I think their problem isn't attacking Trump. Their problem is finding reasons to give people to support Kamala Harris. This stop he made in this plea he's making to African-American men. I mean, he said today he insulted them. I mean, he first of all admits that they're not enthusiastic about her. He said, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president, and you're coming up with other alternatives and reasons for that. And I think one thing we've seen about Democrats over the years is that when they can't convince you to do something, they begin to insult you. Obama specifically, when he was having trouble with rural voters in Pennsylvania, go back all the way into his campaigns, he insulted them about their culture and values. I don't think it's helpful to insult a group of people who are already not enthusiastic about your campaign, but I think that's what he did today. The story tonight is they're struggling with men. Obama's insulting men, and they're out saying, well, let's fix it by sending Tim Walz out and hiring Mitt Romney. It's crazy to me.
I'm sorry. This is not a campaign strategy to name Mitt Romney the Secretary of State.
Are you agreeing?
I don't
This is a suggestion in a report.
Exactly. I don't think I don't think we should force any candidate to name who their cabinet is prior to even winning. I think they should be out there talking to voters.
Yeah, let me stop it right there. So, let me come back for a second. There's one more clip on this one, but, so this guy, Scott, right? And, that got me watching a little bit more of this stuff. I don't know, I'm surprised they even let him on some of these platforms. Because every time he speaks to these guys, he says, what you're talking about is absolute idiocy. So I like what he does, because he said it right there. I mean, this whole shit where they're coming after men and trying to get our votes through shame and all this other bullshit. What made them think we would respond to that? Not just black men, but men in general. You got any theories? Hey, can tell you how you doing. Welcome aboard. Hey, well, through the 5 pound, that's my man. Okay. Yo, so you got any theories? Are you there? Are you frozen? I don't know if you're frozen.
I'm not frozen. I'm just sitting here thinking.
All right. Anyhow, so let me go ahead and finish this last piece of clip where there's a sister. She actually comes up and says something, worthwhile. I'm a little bit surprised, but maybe, and this is I think I've seen more and more Black women starting to say shit that makes sense. That understanding that, that we're supposed to be tied together, as opposed to them being free agents like that.
I've always loved me some
Governor Walz, according to Politico, is going to be going out on a mentor, literally a tour of media to appeal to men.
And he the weakest dude on planet Earth. Boy, ain't nobody want to be like Tim Walz. Nobody want to be a beta. Bro, you already a beta by being a vice president to a woman. You already wearing the dress in the family. You ain't beta. They should have picked 2 women. They picked 2 women that won't be as bad as a dude trailing behind Kamala Harris with his tail tucked between his legs. Bro, you ain't screaming masculinity whatsoever. You like the man in the family where the woman wear the pants. That's what Tim Walz is in this situation. The woman's wearing the pants and the man just floating behind her somewhere. That's what that is.
They need to appeal to the needs of the voters. And so when I was a delegate for President Obama in both of his elections in Ohio, right now the vice president is down 11 points in Ohio, even though I fully expect President Trump to take Ohio as he did twice, but to be down 11 points compared to President Biden, that is a problem. But this other issue I want to bring up is a problem too. Why are Black men being lectured to? Why are Black men being belittled in ways that no other voting group? Now, a lot of love for former President Obama, but for him to single out Black men is wrong. And some of the Black men that I have talked to have their reasons why they want to vote a different way. And even if some of us may not like that, we have to respect it. So unless President Barack Obama is going to go out and lecture every other group of men from other identity groups, my message for Democrats is don't bring it here to Black men who, by and large, don't vote much differently from Black women. And what, as a...
Let me stop it right there, because that's the most important thing that she said right there. Let me go ahead and get rid of that. All right. So, anything else to say on that? I mean, I use that clip because it got me to where I am right now, where we're starting to talk specifically about what Obama did. Go ahead.
I got kind of two quick things. One, the thing that offended me the most about what Obama said was the fact that when he said, I understand Black men don't want to vote, have a hard time voting for a Black woman, which is a effing lie.
That's
the one thing, I don't care what our women say. I don't care what nobody say. The one thing that's absolutely true about Black men, we don't mind supporting our women. We don't mind doing it. We do it full-throatedly. We're the only group that supports our women at the clip that we support. That's why other groups of women name Black men the most, that they would rather marry a Black man than anybody else because of our affinity for our women to be upward mobile. So him spewing that lie out there was just, that was the biggest insult to me. And Nina Taylor, she's a needle in a haystack. I mean, I keep saying Taylor, it's Nina Turner. She's a needle in a haystack. For her to come out there and say, why the hell are y'all out here trying to insult brothers? Like, what is that going to get you? And the fact of the matter is, she's right when she said we generally do vote lockstep with our women. This is going to be the election that's not going to happen.
Well, this is the election where that should never happen again unless we both are getting something out of whoever's we're putting in office. And I think that women, as far as I'm concerned, the Black women in general vote differently, right? They're number one, especially white women, and maybe sisters too. Their number one plank is something we can't get behind. I don't agree with unfettered rights to delete babies. I don't agree with that. Some men do, but I don't. I think there should be some restraints on everything. I don't believe anybody should have unfettered rights. We don't. So I don't think women should either.
No, we don't. The only choice that we have not to be a parent is to not have sex. That's the only choice we have.
That's what I'm saying. So like I said,
that's crazy.
You know what? They automatically sign up. There's another thing, TJ, that I have a problem with. When women want to claim so much power in government and now the top spot, until the women petition themselves to make sure they're automatically signed up for selective service, I don't want to hear shit. They don't even want to be full citizens. Don't mean you got to be on the front line, but why should men be the only ones signing up when they're 18? So, and here's what I'm saying. We already have 250,000 women in the Department of Defense already. Right, so they should automatically be signed up when they turn 18 as well. And here's the thing: in order to put a battalion, a company, or anything out in the field, the logistics footprint for that is huge. It's maybe 10 times the size. Women would be perfect back there doing those kind of things. They don't have to be on the front lines, but they should be required to do what men do for full citizenship. And we want to make one a commander-in-chief. I mean, I have issues with that. You know, you know. So I mean, you want to be full-throated, pause, citizens, then you should do all the things that's required to be a citizen. Now, so now, go ahead.
I hear that narrative, but no other industrialized country in the world has their women in the military.
That's not true. Well, okay, unless you don't include Israel.
Yeah, but I understand the narrative for us to want them to be in selective service because they're pushing this equality they are the same as.
Why is it a narrative though? Why would you call it a narrative? It's true.
What?
You said it's a narrative, but it's not a narrative.
That they're pushing
I mean, when you say a narrative, isn't that kind of saying that we're just like a talking point? It's not a talking point.
Well, for the women, it's a talking point. For them, they're not equal to us. I don't believe that they are.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? That's why I call it. It's their narrative. But I'm saying if that's what our women in general do not want what equality actually is.
I agree with that.
They just want the equal outcomes that men can get. But they don't want to go through what we got to go through to get it. They don't want that. I don't care. You can't no woman, can't no feminist, can't no bulldogger, can nobody, can none of them convince me otherwise, because the moment that you say, okay, you want equality, like I was at work one day and the women was talking about that they can do just as much as men. I said, great. I said because I work at a hospital and we got strange people coming in and out of the hospital all night, and somebody broke into our department.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just me and a bunch of ladies in there, and I had to go and tussle with that dude while they called security. And I told them, I said, okay, next time somebody walk in this door, I said, next time somebody walk in this door, and that's a little bit off, you ladies, you guys have at it. I'll sit here in the back and let you guys take care of it.
All right, so we go ahead and play the clip that we all came from.
What do you think they said?
They said, hell no.
Okay, then you don't want no goddamn equality. You ain't the same as me.
Of course they say, hold on. Listen, I'm going to play this clip. I don't know if I can get through the whole thing. Anybody out there haven't hit the like button, hit the like button, you know, and all that kind of good stuff. So let's go ahead and stomach through what most everybody here probably saw 1,000 times already, but I got to start it, and I got to say, we got to listen to a little bit of Obama stumble and bumble. I haven't heard him so inarticulate as he is in this particular bullshit that he's talking about. Now, also, let me set the tone. These people already are Harris supporters. These black men, the few that you see, they're already Harris supporters. So this is really what he's talking to the audience by having these guys, these sycophants around. And, you know, they're going to do a few things, hocus pocus and stuff like that. But
speak some truths, if you don't mind. Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences, who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land, and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act. So everybody's got help and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person. And you're thinking about sitting out? But, you know, Cousin Pookie might be. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that because part of it makes me think, and I'm speaking to men directly, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
All right, so that's enough of that. I can't take any more. All right, so you got any thoughts on him? You got anything? I know you do, but
no,
what's your take?
It's just offensive. What he just did was absolutely offensive. You know, we're the one group in this country that have no problem with our women, because most of us have spent our entire lives with female quote unquote leadership.
Because Anissa, I heard nothing wrong. I had to grab it as soon as I
you know what? Anissa's crazy.
Of course she is. Crazy as a loon. That's what we love her though.
And see, and that's this false narrative that black men got such a damn problem with female leadership, and that's all we know is female leadership. It's all we know, Mr. Payne, especially my generation. That's all I know is female leadership. All my buddies, all my friends, all the women I've dated, everyone that I grew up around, Mr. Payne, you are my father's age. All of us, all we know is female-led households. Most of us in the workforce. Mr. Payne, I'm 47 years old. I've been in the workforce. So you must say starting at 17, that's over 20-something years. I've only had 2 male supervisors in my entire work history. 2. I've only had 1 white woman as a supervisor. Every one of my supervisors, directors and managers, have been black women.
Right.
Every one of them.
It's okay. It's incredible. It's condescending. It's not true. It's a lie. And the fact that he directed it towards black men like that is really demeaning. It's something. And he's feeling the backlash for this right now. I would love to hear the conversation between him and Kamala. Is he saying I'm sorry? Because I'm not so sure he wants her to be president either.
Yeah, I know.
Or her presidency is a throwaway.
She up there giving him a high five for dog walking black men. Black men we're the dog that's tired of being kicked.
I hear that. I hear you. I mean, it's just incredible. So I just say, he spurned on a few hyenas that I just want to get the blood boiling a little bit before we go in and start hearing the brothers respond to this and some sisters respond to this. But there's a couple of hyenas that I think you might be familiar, at least one that you might be familiar with, that I just want people to see this particular hyena. And she makes herself known all the time. Where is she? I gotta find her. Okay. All right.
We're looking at these polls and we're looking at who is voting for Trump. You've got 53% of white women that voted for him in 2020. We've got to reach those women. We've got to reach those ridiculous, crazy black men that did vote for Trump. We've got
the ridiculous, crazy black men. Right.
Reach those people. We've got to reach the Cuban men in Miami that overwhelmingly voted for Trump.
I don't know how you expect to reach black men by insulting them. This women is crazy, man. And you notice there's white women, Latin women sitting on this panel. Nobody chose to disrespect their men except the black woman. And these men are voting for Trump at higher percentages than black men. Now, if you want to say that white men are voting for Trump because he's white, whatever, granted. But what's the excuse she's giving Latin men? Trump threw paper towels at Puerto Ricans, and she's Puerto Rican. This woman is half Taino, yet she chose to disrespect her black side. Bitch.
That's exactly right. I tell you, it's one of those kind of things, man. It's one of those kind of things. So, what do you think about her? I mean, why was she? Listen, Sonny Holston has said something the same thing, like, and I don't have that clip, and that's okay. That was a short clip. Besides her calling us ridiculous men, and she's married to a guy half Haitian or whatever he is. I don't know how they get along. But she had a clip saying, well, we don't really have to worry about black men. They've been socialized, suck on a woman's tit. Now, part of that is true, right? And she said it in a condescending fashion. So she's one of the biggest hyenas on The View. And, I don't know. I just think that she just starts when you start hearing your sisters, she didn't name any, just like the brother said in The Stitch, right? She didn't call out anybody else. She didn't give a derogatory term to anybody else, just the black men. And this is part and parcel of why we're going to let them hang out there alone. And matter of fact, it'd be nice for me and it could be Trump. The fact is Trump is the only bad thing I think for some people it is. It could have been somebody else. I wasn't going to vote for a Democrat no matter who it was. But it'd be nice for Trump to come in and start taking away some of those special programs that these guys rely on. It'd be nice for that, because we need the money for the peace dividend and stuff like that. We should. I don't care if he punishes. I don't care if all the Democrat people get punished for all the handouts that they've been getting from these guys, from the Democrats. I really don't.
Well, in reality, though, the states that actually get the most handouts are usually red states. But I get the narrative.
Yeah, but the blue states, whatever handouts they're giving to everybody other than the people.
Other than the people, right?
Yeah.
Here's what I would, for as far as
Well, go ahead. That's just me ranting. Go ahead.
Yeah. Here's what I would think, because I'm sick of, and maybe I'm just out here on an island by myself.
Okay.
If black women have such disdain and have such acrimony about who we are as individuals and our pieces of the black pie, at this point, just leave us alone. Go about your business.
Yeah, I guess.
Go about your business. Stop trying to change us. Stop trying to browbeat us. We're no good. We're deadbeats. We're irresponsible. We're broke, even though you the motherfuckers getting evicted left and right. We're broke. We're all of these things. We're stupid. We dumb. We don't know no better. Leave us alone. How about that? How about just leave us alone? We will be just fine. We have grown up in a country that every which way we turn, from the moment we open our eyes in the morning till we lay it down at night, we are accustomed to damn near every entity, including our own women, trying to violate us or emasculate us or stomp us out. If our women have this big of a problem with us, just leave us alone at this point.
Right.
Because most of us are tired of the fighting, we're tired of arguing, and we're tired of begging you. Oh, I know her.
Yes.
Do you know her?
Go ahead, keep talking. I just want to get it.
If you don't vote in this election,
that's Joy. I like Joy, but
you like Joy?
Yeah, I love me some Joy. But this is crazy what she did. But I love me some Joy. I love
you
this
vote
woman.
the wrong way, and you're black. You deserve everything that you don't get. You deserve being overlooked for that job opportunity. You deserve getting pulled over driving while black. You deserve racial inequality. You deserve having to have a job with a non-livable wage. You deserve the fact that you're going to have student loan debt for the next 25 years. You deserve not being able to buy a house and build generational wealth. Some of y'all are just embarrassing. And I'm not talking about embarrassing to yourselves. You're embarrassing to your ancestors. You're embarrassing to all of the barriers that were broken before you were even thought about existing on this planet Earth. Y'all are embarrassing to your children and to your grandchildren that you've not even met yet. It is disgusting. Having a literacy test has got to be put back on the table.
All right. So we got that hyena out of the way. So what do you like
don't
about
call
her?
her a hyena. She's a good girl. Everybody's allowed a brain fart, Mr. Payne. Let me tell you something.
First of all, again,
it's hard to see somebody go left like that you like. You know what I mean? It's hard.
No, but let me tell you. Okay, forget about the name call.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Listen, again, I just think it's still projection. Like
Yeah.
student loan debt impacts women more than men. Right? The driving while black is universal. That has nothing to do with who is in political power, right?
Yes.
This some of the stuff she said is just crazy. You know, people can't buy a house now. And this is but her the girl she likes and the president now, they can't buy a house now. Even people who've been working, they don't have no money to buy a house. Just like this $25,000 she's talking about. We'll be back in that foreclosure situation like we were in 2008 and within 3 to 5 years. Because if you can't afford to buy a house, $25,000 is not going to help you keep it. So I just think that the policies that they put up, and we just could have a policy conversation. I think that, we can quell this. Some men not going to vote for a woman for president. Absolutely. So what? But that's not just to black men. There's going to be some men who don't want a woman to be commander in chief.
But that's going to be more in the white demographic than it is the black, though.
I agree with that.
And let me tell you something, Mr. Payne. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. For those out there that are clamoring to see a female president, you missed your opportunity with Hillary. Let's take away the likability of Hillary Clinton.
Okay.
If she's likable or not.
Go ahead.
Both sides of the aisle have come out universally and said that this Hillary Clinton is an excellent executive, a public service executive. No one has ever tried to discredit her from her ability to be an excellent executive. Hillary's, despite the fact that she screwed up on Benghazi, but everybody gets a mulligan. George W. Bush.
Everybody gets a mulligan. Go ahead.
Yeah, everybody gets a mulligan. George W. Bush, he effed up the Iraq crap. So
no doubt about it.
Hillary Clinton gets a mulligan, but Hillary Clinton came across. She wouldn't run as her authentic self. That's what killed her. She always comes across, look, if Hillary Clinton's a bitch, she need to run like she's a bitch. People will respect who you are versus you pretending that you're something else. Like her sitting down, pulling out that damn planted hot sauce in her purse.
Yeah.
That was crazy. That was some crazy shit. You know what I'm saying? That was some crazy shit.
It's just crazy.
But I'm just saying, they had their opportunity because, believe it or not, just if you all things being equal, Hillary was an excellent executive. She was a great senator. She was great at the State Department. But you compare Hillary to Kamala, it's night and day.
Forget it. But let me ask you this though: what about her propensity to want to go to war?
Whose?
Hillary.
What Republican president?
Okay, go ahead. Say what you're gonna say.
What Republican president didn't have a propensity to go to war?
Yeah. I mean, the military-industrial is a wash. It's a wash.
Yes, it's a wash. I don't care that Donald Trump, that they think whether he's a racist or not. Some of the most racist presidents have signed into law civil rights stuff.
Of course.
Ronald Reagan, the darling of the Republican Party, Ronald Reagan, the father of the conservative movement, he fucking hated Martin Luther King. They had to drag him kicking and screaming to make MLK Day a national holiday. He talked so much. He talked cash shit about Martin Luther King. He hated Martin Luther King, and he also said that when Martin Luther King was assassinated, he basically, and I'm paraphrasing, he basically said he had it coming. And I'm paraphrasing. That's not the exact quote, but I'm paraphrasing what he actually said.
Yeah, listen, man. Okay, so now we heard all the folks who had some issues, on this. Hey, boss man, not boss man. Loss, you coming up? You coming up, Loss, or you? No.
On Monday, I'm going to be doing a stream based on what you said earlier today.
What's up, Loss?
Hey, Loss. I'm going to be doing a stream specifically addressing that Black men need to sell their vote to the highest bidder. I'm almost done completing that, putting that together, and I'll be doing that on Monday. We absolutely, as a group, we need to, because I did this. I unregistered as a Democrat. I'm a full independent. I think every Black man need to be a full independent, and I think that we need to go to the party who's going to offer us the most with our vote. Damn our women if they don't want to get in lock stock with us, because we will control who goes into power. Not only on a national level, but I'm also talking locally, which is actually more important on a local level.
Okay. What you got, Loss?
Here's my thing, man. A while back, there was a summer where Black men were being hunted down like dogs.
Like dogs.
And a president that looked like us sat on his hands. That's what I remember. Then he's asking us to support a gentleman who at the time was his vice president.
Right.
Who wrote most of the laws that put a lot of brothers in jail. Now he wants us to support another vice president who has a history of throwing brothers in jail for no reason. And didn't even have the nerves to apologize.
Absolutely.
And for the life of me, I can't understand why a president who looks like us fixed his mouth to chastise us when he did nothing for us.
It's incredible.
No, not only that, our pain. In the beginning, he too said that he wasn't going to do anything for just Black people.
That's right. He did. People keep
And
forgetting
then at the same time, we got a vice president who says, no, I'm not going to do anything for Black people. No. But then going to fix their mouth to come and chastise us, to marginalize us, to basically beg us for our vote. Let me explain something to you about men. Men do not forget. We do not. We remember everything. We remember every condescending word our women said to us. We remember the silence that our president said on his behalf. As a matter of fact, I remember when he got up the nerve to say that if I had a son, he would look just like Trayvon Martin. Come on, man. Come on. Hear what I said. And then he gonna fix his ever-loving mouth to come up here and chastise us, knowing full well we've been through enough.
Absolutely.
See, I got a problem with that. I got a problem with women who have a short memory, who don't remember what we've been through as men throughout this country. The disrespect, not only that from our women, from other men who fix their mouths from on high, if you understand what I'm saying, to tell them what they need to do, when they never, ever even lifted a finger to assist brothers. No. We don't ask for anything. We just ask that you get out of our way.
Absolutely.
Get out of our way. Let us do what we have to do. We're not begging you for anything. We're not looking for handouts. We don't want anything from you. All we ask is that you get the hell out of our way. And that's it.
And that's it.
So as far as brothers, brothers, you know what to do.
Yeah.
You know what to do. I'm not telling you who to vote for.
You know what to do.
I know for a fact that you're smart enough to know what to do. How about that?
How about that?
Go ahead, RP.
Let me go ahead and get this one going. You don't have to go nowhere. Let me get this.
Barack, who the hell do you think you are? Barack Hussein Obama, aka Barry Soetoro, aka we don't know who the fuck you truly are. We don't know who you are. Where did you even come from? You're just some nobody out of Chicago, and all of a sudden, you're elevated. Just like Kamala. See, we already know the game now. You people aren't even real. You're created in a Hollywood studio with script writers and production teams. Why did you take over to sit on the board of Netflix? And why are you producing movies with Netflix, like Leave the World Behind, sending those subliminal, actually very blatant messages? Because you yourself there, Barry, are nothing more than a figment of everybody's imagination. And now you're pissed off because Black men are seeing through all of the facade and the Hollywood bullshit. Propaganda has worked out well for you, hasn't it there, Barry? Since you did away with the Smith-Mundt Act that forbade news networks and the media from propagandizing American citizens. You made sure that went away so you could pour as much propaganda into this country and the minds of consciousness as you possibly could, you son of a bitch. I spent 7 years of my life fighting your administration, you and Biden, by the way, for my husband's military benefits. My daughter died because of Obamacare. I don't give a fuck about you. And I will be glad when we do not have to see you in the mainstream anymore. Take the money you stole and go back to Kenya. We could care less, honestly. But back to the point. So here we go with you, Obama, once again, trying to convince Black men that the last 4 years of financial Armageddon didn't happen with Harris and Biden being in the White House with you down there in your pajamas and your sweats, you know, pulling the strings, like you said in that 60 Minutes interview. You think we've forgotten about that? Your past is coming back to haunt you. We know you people are fake as hell. You were created in some Hollywood studio. You're not, none of you are real. Tim Waltz, all this craziness is coming out about him. You're not even, I have no idea how these people take you seriously and think that you're saving democracy. You're only bringing communism. That's it. You're communists. You're Marxists. You're true believers. And you have been trying to destroy this country since really 2004 there, Barry. Should talk about your international trips before you were a public figure. You don't get to mock Black men for not wanting Kamala Harris. Nobody is intimidated by her. Nobody. She might not even be a real prosecutor. You could have made that up too. Barry, it's not going to work this time. This is not 2008. You're using the same tactics and you're pissed off because people are not falling down at your feet worshiping you. You don't care about black folks. The only black folks you had in the White House were athletes and celebrities. You didn't give a fuck about the rest of the people. When's the last time you and Michelle went to a youth center on the south side of Chicago? Don't worry, I'll wait. You're not black. She's not black. And I don't give a fuck about color, dude. I don't vote vagina and I don't vote color. I vote on principle and I vote my money. And after the last 4 years, we have less of it because of the cosplay candidate that you are trying to shame black men into voting for. That's not how you get people to come onto your side, stupid. Didn't you learn that? I mean, wherever you grew up, who knows? So go away, Obama. Nobody's listening to you. You're not going to, black men who have already made up their mind to vote for Trump, they're voting for Donald Trump. Because guess what? At the beginning and end of the day, asshole, the only color that matters is green.
Ooh, well, she is not an Obama fan. You know what I'm saying? She had a lot to say about him. Yeah, listen, all I can say is I got some more videos here, but I don't know if anybody else wants to come up and talk about what they think about this and how they're leaning, not just what Obama says, but do you think anybody out there actually thinks that he had a fair discussion about, black men? Or did he look he looked kind of weak to me? He looks a little frail and peaked. I know he's getting older. I know he's, he's kind of thin anyway. He's always been that way. But I don't know, the pressure seems to be getting to him. But you know what? There's some people who think that he doesn't mind if Kamala wins or loses. I think this is a throwaway election to them. It's like one of those Hail Marys that if she wins, great. But what they wanted to do was save all their real candidates for 2028. That's why, that's why they probably were happy she didn't pick Ben Shapiro or whatever his name is, Shapiro in Philly, because he's one of the candidates that they want to prop up later on. And that will be a nice coup for, certain group of people because of his background. But as far as I'm concerned, I think that this race is not as close as what people think it is. It's not. And, I got a few brothers who have something to say about, what's happening, and I left them for last. But there's some numbers that I think we all have to understand. So I'm going to find a guy who talks a little bit about the numbers, and he's a real liberal, and he's not black, but he's a liberal. And if I could find this thing, I think it'll be interesting because he talks about the numbers and percentages. And I think you guys, and he doesn't spend a lot of time on it, but he does talk a little bit about it. And I think that would be something that you guys might want to see. Now, I got to find him. There it is.
So it's one thing for Barack Obama to come out and be this, the person leading the effort to bring black male voters in. There's logic in that, and there's a reason why they asked him to do it and not someone else, right? But the way that he lectured them, it was super uncomfortable. It felt like lecturing and shaming. And Nina Turner makes a great point. Oftentimes when Democrats do this, the next stage of this is after they lose the election, then they turn around and blame them and go, the black male vote cost us. It's their fault. No, listen to Waz. You have to earn their vote. That sense of entitlement is maddening, okay? So, but let me show you the numbers as to why this idea that black males are leaving the Democratic Party because they're sexist is wrong.
because we had another woman run for president against Donald Trump. That was back in 2016, Hillary Clinton. So what was the vote back then? Hillary Clinton won 81% of the black male vote in 2016. Donald Trump.
No, take those numbers in. 81% of the black male vote in 2016, right? For Hillary Clinton. Well, you know what? That was a good number. It was less than, black men were voting pretty much with black women. He didn't put up the black women numbers. They might have been closer to 90%, if not in the 90s.
Donald Trump only won 14%. Okay, now how are they doing today? Well, black male voters who think Harris would make a good president is down to 66%, and percent of black male voters who think Trump would make a good president is up to 21%.
All right, so I think both of those numbers, the 66%, I'm very encouraged. I hope it's less than that. I hope it's in the 50s. It'd be nice if black men, but 66 is great. That means that there's a fair amount of black men who are off the plantation. Now, are they off the plantation to stay? And I think the 21% for Trump might turn out to be low, but still, I think it's significant enough for him to get it. If you add that with the Latino vote and the white vote and the Hispanic, and the Asian vote, he might have a nice bunch of men saying, you know what, enough of it is enough. Let's get some normalcy back into the states. But sticking with black men, that 66 number is scary to the Democrats. But I'm hoping it's in the 50s when it's all said and done. And I hope that number stays that low until the Democrats until the Democrats actually do something that's tangible. Now, what can that be? That's one of the things I don't think we talk about. What tangible are we looking at that will make a difference to us, specifically as black people? That's the question. I have some ideas. Some people have some ideas. I think they, and I think most people won't like him because everybody's looking for money. So let's just say, let's put reparations aside. I don't think that's something that they should do for black people. I think they could fix the holes in the 13th Amendment. I think they could fix that hole in the 13th Amendment, the one that gives them the ability to use us as chattel slaves. There's a hole in the amendment. It needs to be fixed. I think they should close private prisons. I think private prisons are the place where crooked judges give blacks and other poor people extended sentences so the private prisons can continue to make money on every head of person that they have incarcerated. I think that shit needs to go. I think they should go back to the crime bill and relook at a lot of those cases where they gave people life sentences for shit that shouldn't have been more than 5 to 10 years, and look at whether those guys, if they're still able to be saved, let those people out, exonerate some people's or expunge some people's records. I think if you're in jail for marijuana use, I think that they should be able to relook at those cases. And now that people are making billions off of marijuana, I think that needs to change. Now, why is most of the things criminal related? Well, you know what? They use the criminal justice system against black folks in an unbalanced manner. I think if you went to jail for a vial of crack and got 20 years, and when somebody had a pound of cocaine and they got 5 months, I think they need to make that right. I think the president can do something to make those kind of things right. So, and then there's other things that you guys could think of, but these are the things that come off the top of my head, right? I mean, they're not, instead of saying, well, they're going to give us some money and this, all that. No, there's some tangible things the president actually can do. And it wouldn't be just for blacks, but blacks would benefit directly from it. So there'll be a whole host of other things. You guys come up with your own things. But none of these guys are talking about that. And remember, it was Trump who had put the First Step Act out there that got a whole bunch of brothers out of jail. He might not have did it directly for them, but they benefited from them the most. So anyway, so that's that one thing. So that 66% is encouraging. It's still too high for my liking, but I think black men have an opportunity to really stand up and be counted, and not only with breaking the demonic wheel of the Democratic Party on the plantation, but sending black women a message that your tit, the milk's coming out of your tit ain't enough anymore. It's not. It's not. You know, you could hyena yourself to death all you want. You could name call and shame. You could Sonny Holston, and you could do all this. You could Whoopi Goldberg. And you could do all the bullshit that you want to do. This just not going to shame us into doing something stupid for y'all. Not anymore. Not anymore. I think, you know, men need to understand that, you know, the only way this world's going to work right again is if you're willing to take your rightful place at the head of the table. Doesn't mean women have to be less than, but we seen the results of the coming of the matriarchy, and it's devastating the whole country. So anyway, what's next? You know, I have a couple of brothers. You know, let me just play this. I got one brother I'm going to play for you. And it'll be the last video, I believe. So we got a couple more, but this one I want to show because he's even keeled. He's more even keeled than me. You know, I've never seen him before, but I think he has a nice message. It's a little long, but listen to it.
Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to take a moment to come on to give a brief response to a video I saw today about President Obama speaking to a group of black men. He's campaigning for Kamala Harris. It's important to note it was a campaign speech, I think in the city of Pittsburgh, speaking to a group of black men and the brothers, black men like me and so many of you. But it was a speech in essence stating that as black men, as brothers, that there was some sort of an obligation or at least an expectation by President Obama for black men to support Kamala Harris because we're black and she's black. But also he suggested that if black men don't support her, that perhaps they have a problem with a woman in leadership. I thought about that and contemplated that for a little while and wanted to give a response for this reason, not a political response, but I wanted to give a response that is paternal. I want to speak as a father, but I also want to give a response that is pastoral concerning discipling people, discipling families, seeing people develop in the image and the likeness of God. And I just want to suggest that the challenge with that speech is that it suggests that pigmentation is more important than policy. And I think that the narrative of that speech was a little bit degrading to the identity of black men. It suggests that black men are not intelligent, free, and critical thinkers to vote our convictions apart from skin color. Let me frame this a little bit more. In 1963, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, he spoke in his I Have a Dream speech. Very, very famous line. He says, "I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." And I believe that the narrative that President Obama is speaking right now undermines Dr. King's dream and suggests that we are in a nation, that he's suggesting that we are defined by the color of our skin and not the content of our character. If black men vote based upon the content of our character, knowing that we're created and made in the image of God, Psalms 139 verse 14, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. Genesis 1:26, we're created in God's image and his likeness. I just want to speak to the idea that a political suggestion and what tends to be political manipulation and dictating what the identity of a black man should be based upon him voting upon skin color, I think it undermines the identity of young black boys out there, young black men, and it undermines the construct of strong intact Black families. Let me say it this way: there are undoubtedly young men out there who don't have a strong father in the home like me, who don't have a strong pastor in their life like me to help them develop their identity and their character. Young men who are struggling with identity, struggling with even their self-esteem. I respect President Obama. He's a leader. He's a historical leader in the Black community and a man of great influence. If a young man who does not have a strong father, a strong pastor, a strong mentor in his life hears a national leader like that speaking definition concerning what it means to be a Black man, that can be incredibly damaging. That can undermine what it is that God intends for their lives. And so I just want to create some balance here and to speak from a different perspective to say that you are not obligated to have President Obama or James Ward or Ben Carson or LeBron James or anybody else dictate to you who you are and how you should behave for political reasons.
It also includes Ricky Smiley, Michael Eric Dyson, who's the big simp from the show with the mustache, whatever. Steve Harvey, the no neck dude who likes men's butts. None of these guys, D.L. Hughley, all of these guys are, as far as I'm concerned, based on this election alone, even if I liked them before, I have real trouble with them now. I call them Django Calvinites, and I have lost a lot of respect for those men.
Your identity comes through faith in God. God has defined your life in Jeremiah chapter 1. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, God knew you. He created you. He has purpose for you. Your identity is found in God and is not to be manipulated by the political ambitions and aspirations of politicians today. I just wanted to say that I have a heart and passion for families, to see fathers and families, and to see strong, intact Black families in particular. And we just don't need political leaders lecturing us concerning what it means to be a man and a father for political reasons in a way that undermines the role that God has called us into, to be servant leaders to our families. So I just wanted to say that again, with humility, with respect. I honor President Obama. I just don't do the disrespect thing and being sarcastic in any way. I don't attack character. I honor him for his role. But I do think that it's important for us as fathers and even ministry leaders to help create balance so that people have the opportunity to develop the way that God has called them to. The last thing I'll say is this: as citizens of the United States of America, Black men, like all other citizens in the United States, according to the founding documents of our nation, the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Bill of Rights, I also include the Mayflower Compact of 1620. According to those documents and what it means to be a citizen in America, you are free to go into the voting booth. That space is private and sacred, and it's an opportunity for you as an individual to exercise your inalienable rights. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. It's sacred space for you to go as an individual and to cast your vote and to exercise autonomy as an individual, to have a contribution to the future direction of this nation. And it is not up to anyone to dictate to you what those convictions are to be. Be encouraged, be blessed, be strong. I'll talk to you next time.
All right. I appreciate those words. Right? And he was right on the money. He was. So hey, listen, I wanted to make that my last video on purpose because I've never seen that brother before. And he was nice and even killed in the way he discussed, and he tried to keep it. I started out saying I didn't want to curse nobody. That lasted around 2 minutes, but he, was really articulate in the way he professed, and he didn't want to bash Obama, but he's in his subtle way said Obama was wrong. He overstepped his boundaries with us as Black men, and so Now they're putting tampon Timmy out there, and he's supposed to be gonna go on a man's tour, but he's getting ready to have a scandal come out in his name that may blow everything away. You know? What you talking about? Lost is funny. You know, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, anyway, the guy was cool. Anyhow, but so I think that we're coming down to the home stretch, and one of the things that I think we need to do as, you know, Black folks, men and women, we should try not to bite each other's heads off, no matter where we fall on the political spectrum. We should have healthy debates on whether you want, you know, Kamala Harris or Trump. To me, you know, like I said, the political parties are different sides on the same coin. However, you know, start to look at the policies that you might want to live under, because some things the executive branch actually can change. You know, and even though some laws can get passed until they go to the proper channels, there are some things that can change. And I have a whole litany of things that Kamala wants to do that I just can't get with. And I don't need to go over that. You figure out if you can get with them and you're fine with them. But if it's just because she's a woman and she's got brown skin, I don't know how much more we could afford identity politics like that. And even with the admission that most of us did that for Barack Obama, some of the bloom has come off of his rose as well, now that we understand what he's really about. But he was a different kind of cat, right? He was a unique kind of cat. He just was. I mean, we got to give him those flowers. Right now, you know, now that we, in hindsight, we could look back and say, oh, right, shit, we've been hoodwinked and bamboozled and shit, you know? So, all right, is that you? You want to come back up, Lit? Are you back up? Do I have to let you to the stage? There you go. What happened? All right. Let me fix the orientation. What's up?
Here's my thing.
Go ahead, bro.
I want Miss Harris to do the same thing she's willing to do for everybody else. You remember, she got on Oprah and she asked them folks, you know, I want to be the president to ask you, are you okay? Before you ask for my vote, ask me, am I okay? Ask the fellas, are they okay? You know what I'm saying? Not just the women of women of color or of women, period. Why don't you ask the men, are they okay? I never see her take the side of men all the time unless it's time to get a vote. I think it's time out for that. You know what I mean? Before you ask for my vote, ask me if I'm okay. You know, that's my whole thing. And as far as Obama's concerned, I think the bloom was off the onion. As far as I'm concerned, you know, with situations like that, I've never been a fan of identity politics. I never have. I look at what you've been able to do while you've been in office. I also look at your past, you know. So that's my whole thing. If you got a history of not performing for people, if you got a history of skating by, you know, and then the killing part about it is what I didn't like about what Obama did. He didn't look those guys in the eye and tell them the truth. And you can hear the tremble in his voice.
That's right.
When he was making it up as he was going along, because
he was so easy.
any man will tell you if you're not shooting straight, we kind of know it. You know what I'm saying? And the killing part about it was he fixed his mouth to say that you know, she came from the same thing you came from. No, you didn't. No, she didn't.
No, she didn't. Absolutely.
She didn't experience the same struggles most folks did. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then the killing part about it is you want us to forget what she's done. No. We don't forget. We don't forget. You know.
So, let me ask you a question.
The killing part about it is our pain. It's the same rhetoric we hear every night on these panels. You want us to do for you for what?
Right.
For what?
Right.
You know, you're gonna have to earn our vote just like you You want us to earn your time, you know, that type of thing. What do we get for our time?
Well, you
What
know
do we
what?
get for what we want, you know?
The funny
And
thing
they
is,
get mad when we have the nerve to ask for something for our vote, you know?
there you go. That's what's going to
The main people who sit up there and ask us for 20 in the front and 40 in the back got the nerve to ask us what we want for our vote.
I swear.
I don't get it,
Well,
man.
well, how come they only ask? How come they don't want? That's a funny shit. You just said it. Everybody wants shit for us, but nobody's telling what they're going to give us. Nobody. I mean, what? I mean, women will have a whole laundry list that we got to be, but you ask them, what are you going to give me in return? No, his mum's the word. So even the president was a vice, the president candidate.
Right.
She wants us to give us her everything, our vote. And she hasn't said one thing. Do you know she's launching a man tour? She's got some policies she just made up. She just made some policies up. She says, okay, it's some bullshit, man. I'm serious. She just came out with it last night. You know?
Oh my goodness. Let me tell you something. At her little rally, she played Mrs. Carter's song, you know, freedom, freedom. Yeah. I got a song for Mr. Carter. It's called 99 Problems that I think that the fellas need to play. You know, it's on my TikTok, but I can't play it on YouTube. I had to put my own stuff on there on YouTube. But Miss Harris, I got 99 problems and a VPA. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
that's how I look at it, man.
So I don't know, man. Hey, listen, I just wanted to, I mean, everybody around this YouTube Spaces is talking about the Obama thing. I just thought we had to bring it over here, the Black Man Unfiltered. I feel that I think tomorrow we might be even addressing it again a little bit on flipping tables, I think.
Oh, well, we will. We're going to turn some tables over, buddy. Please believe that.
So, and the only thing I said to you and I said to everybody else when I first started was that when I came up with my divest from the Democratic Party, that first video I made was in February of 2023.
Yeah.
And I think we are here where I was thinking we should be. I didn't know it was going to happen like this, but I'm really happy that Black men are saying, you know what, man, hell with this bullshit. And even if the results don't come out the way I want, just to see people starting to say, you know what, we deserve our own autonomy.
Absolutely.
And it's independent of the party and the Black woman and everything else, even though it's still up in the 60th percentile.
Absolutely.
But that's way down from the top. And there's hope in that. I hope it's down to 50 when it really comes out.
Right. You see, what people don't realize when Black men vote for their own concern, you're casting a vote for the entire family.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You're not just casting a vote for the mothers. You're not just casting a vote for the girls. You know what I'm saying? You're casting a vote for everybody because men already know they have to take care of the family, you know? And if you go back and you look at the diagrams, you start to see that the reason why we come apart when it comes to politics between men and women are beginning to be more liberal, and guys are being more conservative.
Yes.
We already saw this coming years ago. You know what I'm saying? It's just the fact that these people pour gasoline on a situation and inflamed it and made it worse than what it is. But we already knew this was coming anyway. So that's the reason why we sat back and was like, okay, we're going to wait till the chickens come home to roost.
Yeah, and they come home.
Cockle-doodle-doo.
That's right. Hey, man, the chat's been talking. They've been live, man. Thanks for the chat coming up. I don't know. You got any more? You got some final thoughts there?
Well, my final thoughts is this. Gentlemen, think while it's still free. You know what I'm saying? Think while it's still free. Never listen to somebody who tells you what you should do, because 9 times out of 10, it's usually something that's in it for them. They never ask you what you need. They always tell you to give you, they always want you to give them something. Be wary of the folks who give the shirt off of your back. Gentlemen, I expect you to conduct yourself as gentlemen. I expect you to think as men. And I also expect you to be leaders as well, too. You know, don't take no wooden nickels, and always stand on what you believe in. And I'm out, our Payne. Thank you so much
for having
me.
Thanks a lot for coming up. I appreciate it, man. TJ, thanks for him coming up. You know, hey, the black community is purposely divided. Oh yeah, it's been that way. Democrats don't even attempt to appeal to don't even attempt to appeal to black women because they know the majority of us need to vote blue. Well, that needs to change too. They definitely don't care what black men do, but the black women need to change that as well. Because actually, you don't need them as much as you think you do. Y'all need to come back into the fold and start to cleave to some good men out there. And we can start rebuilding the community the best way we know how. There may be some struggles, but I think that's what needs to happen. Anyway, listen, I appreciate everybody in the chat. I saw Boss Man, Catilia, you know, Jason, everybody's been around, and this, even you, which, you know, listen, I don't know. Listen, we're going to make sure we could talk you off the ledge, you know, when your girl doesn't win. You know, so we'll be all happy with that. You know, Boss Man, how you know, we'll see you later. Hey, listen, I think Mayhem Monday's next. When I say think, I didn't look for the thumbnail, but I'm sure it's next. If my girl Embrace the Grace is around, she's gonna pop out with a nice show, I'm sure. So that's at 9:30. So 9:30 Eastern. So that's everybody stick around, or you know, go get something to eat or whatever you're gonna do, and come back for that. And I appreciate everybody supporting the show tonight and hitting that like button if you haven't. And I appreciate the chat. So there's good stuff in the chat. I will get a chance to read most of it later on. And with that, I'm gonna call good night. All right. Salute to everybody. Have a good one.
It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. I hope you're all here for the ride. Come inside, cause it's going down tonight. Only here for one night, no lies. Come and saddle up a ride. Need a yeehaw, you know how ye. Here for one night and we just wanna party. In a fast car, a Ferrari. It's a push start, I don't need a car key. Slide on Broadway, and it's gnarly. On a late night, but I'm not tardy. Right on time for the parties and Barbies. Strolling with a truck of green like a golf swing. Hey, 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 hey. Bottles on ice, mess around these skates. Hey, hey, hey. If I gotta say it twice, then I got nothing to say. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. It's going down like a rodeo. It's going down like I told you so. I hope you're all here for the ride. Come inside, cause it's going down tonight. Only here for one night, no lies. Come and saddle up a ride. Come and kiss me up, it's going down. Like a train with no brakes, I'm not slowing down. See us showing up, we're showing out. Better pack